Located in a town named in his honor stands a statue that celebrates a man whose deeds epitomize the evils of greed and racism. That man is none other than the notorious robber baron Collis Huntington. Born in 1821, this former hardware store owner went on to build the western section of the first United States transcontinental railroad. That was figuratively speaking, of course. Actually, when it came to building the Central Pacific Railroad, Huntington never lifted a finger. He left the real work to underpaid laborers. Over 12,000 of those workers were Chinese immigrants who were given the most difficult and dangerous task to perform for wages of less than $1 a day. In the Nevada desert regions, the labor gangs were often attacked by hostile Native Americans, and when Huntington was asked to equip the workers with guns, his only response was, "A Winchester is worth $12, a Chinese, none." On May 10, 1869, the ceremonial golden spike was driven to signify the finish of the Transcontinental Railroad. In spite of their contribution to the completion of the project, the Chinese workers were intentionally excluded from attending the ceremony. In 1896, one of America's greatest authors and journalists sparred with the high and mighty Collis P. Huntington. Working at the time for the Hearst newspapers, Ambrose Bierce's assignment was to expose Huntington's efforts to request or bribe legislation that would excuse his $75 million debt to the federal government until after he was dead. Bierce's hard-hitting articles became such a burden that Huntington felt the only way to stop them was to approach the writer with a bribe. When asked his price, Bierce replied, $75 million. And when you're ready to pay and I happen to be out of town, you can hand it over to my friend, the Treasurer of the United States. Bierce was so successful in creating public outrage over Huntington's attempted theft of taxpayers' money that Congress was forced to strike down the intended bill. Bierce, who is best known for his horror and anti-war stories, gave Huntington his most fitting epithet in the Devil's Dictionary. Here Huntington's ashes long have lain, whose loss is our eternal gain. For while he exercised all his powers, whatever he gained, the loss was ours.